It's my pleasure to have as company three speakers whom I will introduce to you individually as they make presentations. And in discussing the kinds of matters that they want to highlight, there is a relatedness and connection with the discussions this morning. The three speakers will continue in that sense to deal with exhibitions and the formation, the construction of exhibitions and the issues, themes and problems. Let me now introduce to you Plas, who is seated on my extreme left, though that is not a designation of anything else. Els is the director of the Prince Klaus Fund for Culture and Development. She is, in addition to that, professionally an art historian, a curator, and a critic. She was founder and for 10 years director of the Gates Foundation, which I think has quite an intimate connection with Indonesian cultural practices, and which is an organization in the Netherlands that stimulates international exchanges in contemporary art practices.
I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure of the text to make it a bit shorter. The slides that go with the text is just an illustration. It's not. No, sorry. Can you? Yeah, because else I cannot read them. But the slides are just a selection of international contemporary art from Africa, Latin America, and Asia, and it's just illustration. Centric, if you want, and that it had lost touch with society. Artists were no longer playing a role in society and were living in their own ivory towers where shape and color were the determining factors and where by now there was a lot of money to be made. The artistic debate was centered only on itself. New ideas at the time were that artists should no longer be considered just the gatekeepers of beauty and morality, but should also be magicians or magicians, and that they should come from all parts of the globe. Whether or not the international art initiatives emanating from these new ideas would have a positive effect on a rapidly changing society, and if so, what kind of effect this would be, were and are important questions for the art world today. So also, I think, for this Biennale in Indonesia. The Documenta. The Documenta, one of Europe's largest international exhibitions, is held once every 4 years in Kassel in Germany. The 11th Documenta, held in 2002, was of great importance within the discussion involving the consequences of international exchanges. The exhibition showed work by artists from all over the world and broached subjects that appeared relevant and urgent at that time. What's more, Okwien Wezer, the artistic director of this Documenta and a Nigerian by birth, he was the first black director of this exhibition, and actually the 4 years before that it was the first woman, Katarina Vliet, who was ever director of the Documenta, involved other disciplines than just art history and art theory in setting up this exhibition. And Under Siege, 4 cities, Freetown, Johannesburg, Kinshasa, and Lagos. There's an accent, but we should discuss that. Documenta 11 devoted a great deal of attention to interdisciplinary cooperation, examples being video, film, and documentaries. This focus on the narrative aspect of art was relevant within this committed context. The outcomes of the conferences, published in 4 publications, were the subject of this reconciliation in countries where truth and reconciliation processes are being stimulated. Thus, cultural expression contributes to unprocessed traumatic occurrences within a society. The conference attracted a large audience to the Habitat Center in New Delhi. The unprocessed emotions in India surrounding the partition of India and Pakistan and its political consequences were an important topic of the discussion in New Delhi. The highly charged boundary conflict was then represented in Kassel in the work entitled A Season Outside by the Indian documentary maker Amar Kanwar. It was a beautiful film, actually. It was, if you have the opportunity, you should try and see it. The topic was further elaborated by artworks about other boundary conflicts. I will go on to this recommendations and what we can learn from the documenta maybe, but it will also maybe be at the same time offer central platforms for
whichever positions and stations we come to this particular occasion are thorny issues and matters related to inclusions and exclusions in international exhibitions. Are there ways of dealing with this, talking of
newly initiated international contemporary art exhibitions? It witnessed a large number of these exhibitions include a substantial number of artists drawn from countries outside the once near exclusive Euro-American zone of inclusion. This decade also saw a considerable number of major exhibitions focusing entirely on our region of the Asia-Pacific. Major contemporary Asian exhibitions such as the Fukuoka Asian Art Triennials, the Queensland Art Gallery's Asia-Pacific Triennials, Guangzhou Biennial, Taiwan Biennial, and country-specific and country-collected exhibitions organised by the Asia Society, the Japan Foundation, Singapore Art Museum have without doubt changed the way the world now views contemporary Asian art. Of course, such shifts can't be seen in isolation from other historical and economic processes that dominated the period in which it did occur. International exhibitions during the 1990s can be seen as a response to the stimulation and pressure of global culture and art networking, a part of the larger globalization process.
Dengan menggunakan sebagai semacam penjaga gawang dari apa yang disebut sebagai nilai-nilai keindahan dan moralitas, tetapi juga dianggap sebagai tukang sulap, dan mereka itu datang dari segala penjuru dunia.